I was learning how to draw it, and all I saw was white people. And I
Right.
remember showing it to one of my aunties in the community. She was like, "This person doesn't look like you. Why are you drawing white people?" From then on, I was like, "Everybody I'm drawing is black. I'm sorry."
Welcome to the Designers Plants and Coffee podcast, where we discuss how to succeed as a designer while staying true to yourself, finding peace in the process, and making money doing what we love. Subscribe on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
Today, we're going to get into how Tish started her company and the lessons learned and how you can start your own. So, Tish, take it away.
I started my business. Actually, I was consulting and doing a lot of freelancing when I moved back home to Maryland. And I also was doing some refashioning, repurposing, and alterations. And I didn't actually have a name for the company. So it actually came to me in a dream because I kept saying, well, what's the name of the company? Keeping You in Stitches. Okay, well, that's nice, but what's the name of the company? It's like I was having a conversation. I'm like,
With
keeping you in
yourself.
stitches. Right. And then I woke up and was like, oh, okay.
Look at that. That's the
Divine
name of the
intervention. Yep.
company.
Hmm.
So that is how the name came about. So how I actually got started, as I said, I was in Maryland, and in Maryland there are not a lot of corporate companies besides Under Armour. Hey, UA.
Hey.
And once I left there, I actually began to freelance for a tennis wear company. And I did that majority of the time while I was in Maryland. So with that, also getting my business set up as an LLC and making sure it was registered in Maryland. That's how I actually began to do the business. And I also was a mentor for, well, actually, I'm still am a part of the fashion incubator in DC with Macy's. I do a lot of mentoring and teaching on product development. So I did a couple of classes for that. So that's how, when I realized, like, oh, I do know a lot. And this information is not known to everyone because it comes to me so easily.
And that's
Yeah, we're gonna
especially true with teaching because you're like, but this is basic things. And then you're like, well, I guess it's not so basic.
Exactly, because you've learned it
exactly.
over a couple of years. I mean, how
Hmm.
long have you been doing this? And then people are just starting. It's like, what do you mean you don't know this? Oh, no, yes, start from the beginning.
It's
Okay.
second
Yeah.
nature to me, not you.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes, yes, that's it. It's second nature to me, and just telling and mentoring and seeing a lot of designers that did not go to school and the pitfalls that they will fall into of just something basic as you sent all of your samples where? Overseas. Have you ever been over there? Do you know this factory? No. Why would you do that? That's why I didn't come back. It probably wasn't a factory. Like something that was
I mean,
really really, like, to me, came so easy. Like, why would you do that? No.
Right. But so now keeping you in stitches, who do you serve and what do you do for them?
I serve corporate, and when I say corporate, meaning I do a technical design. That is, if you've ever tried on a garment and it did not fit, hello, technical design. That's what we do. We are the people who make sure your garment fits right, it's hanging properly, also that it actually holds up to the standards, whatever the company has decided. So I am that tech fit expert.
Mhm.
So I do that with a lot of corporate companies, starting with new brands, new labels, and private labels. I do teach fashion education for, as I said before, those who did not go to school. I teach them on the side and also mentor independent designers. And I am also an educator. I am a college professor, went back to school to get my master's for that. So a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And I say that because if you all go back to the first episode, I told you about what happened in undergrad
Yeah.
and yeah, how my grades were not great.
Yeah.
And actually, this reminded me that I didn't actually get kicked out. They put me on
Patient.
academic probation,
Yeah.
and my
Yep.
mother got mad and pulled me out.
So it
You're
was
gonna
like you
stay
got
home.
kicked out.
Yeah, it was like I got
She
kicked
got
out.
kicked out, but not by the school. The school didn't kick
Exactly.
you out. Your mother kicked
I,
you out.
I had to prove that I was serious about it. So I had to come home for 2 years. And then I went back and finished. So that is what Keeping You in Stitches serves. It serves the corporate all the way down to the independent designer, people who just want to learn to sew.
Hmm.
They want to learn pattern making, every type of stitch, from the stitch that you could use to make an invisible wig is the same stitch that you use for embroidery thread.
So, how did you know that technical design was your calling and that was going to be your area of expertise?
So remember when I said first episode that I went to textile because I could not draw?
All right.
Well, it did not get better after the first year. I hated some of those drawing classes. I was like, I can't do this.
I will reveal your dirty little secret here. I did Tisha's drawings in college. I don't even know if you knew that, Zahia.
I had
did
no
all of
idea.
Tisha's drawings for her. She would tell me what she wanted it to look like, and I would draw them for her.
Oh,
So
wow.
part of that degree is mine.
It's funny because when I went to grad school completely online, they had us drawing so many sketches where I actually started getting cramps in my hand and carpal tunnel and was wearing a brace while I'm trying to do all these sketches. And then I actually hired someone to help me sketch better because I was like, this will not defeat me. I need to know how to do this if I'm going to be an educator.
My question is, what type of sketching? Are you talking about like fashion sketches? You talking about
Yes.
flat sketches?
We were
Illustration.
doing illustration. I was
Okay.
bringing her designs to life on paper.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she wanted this design for a crop tank top. I don't remember the top. I just remember she wanted the sketch for these ostrich feather pants. I'm going to reveal another trade secret. Miss Zahia made us black
Yes.
girl croquis.
Yes.
And they hips and they have boobs. And so I
Yes.
put these ostrich feathered pants, and I think it was purple. Tish loves purple. So I think it was
Yes.
purple
It was
and
purple.
red and navy. And I sketched it out for her. And then I did put the color in. And I'm pretty sure she got an A. I mean,
Mhm. I did. Because I didn't do it.
Nowadays, do you have to know how to sketch? Because right now, all you have to do is know how to do like flat sketching for
Well,
technical design and
Yeah,
tech
so
packs and stuff.
and it's funny because I can do flat sketching. I have no problem with that.
She just can't do the fashion
I
illustration.
just can't. I couldn't get the 9 heads right. I don't know.
And I can't do flat sketching. I can do the 9 heads. I can do all the body poses. I can do all of that. I can
Yes.
put the detail in the garment.
Right.
But that flat sketching and that technical and making those slopers,
But you know that the 9 head is not really like the average person. That's like
Right.
a model that's like 6 something. That's why I was so adamant about doing black girl croquis, because it's like we don't look like that. We have
Right,
hips,
right.
we have, well, I don't have a lot of boobs, but I have boobs, you know what I'm saying? And you want to show stuff that's going to look good on you, so you have to draw like the black girls croquis. It's funny because when I was growing up and I was learning how to sketch anyway, it's like backstory, I was learning how to draw it and all I saw was white people. And I
Right.
remember showing it to one of my aunties in the community, passed away, but
Mhm.
she was one of my mentors and she was one of the people who taught me how to sew. She was like, this person doesn't look like you.
Mm.
You know, she's like, this person doesn't
Mhm.
look like you. It was like, why are you drawing white people? From then on, I was like, everybody I'm drawing is black. I'm sorry.
But that's what we grew up on, and that's what we
Right.
were taught on. We were taught that sample size is always going to be a 0 to 2, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
But
exactly.
black girl sample size, at least at minimum, skinny black girl size is going to be a 6.
Yeah.
But they're going to be a 6 at the top and probably an 8
Eight
at
at
the
the
bottom.
bottom. Exactly.
We go through
Yeah.
that all the time at work. It's like everybody here is a black woman. Please put hip room.
Yes.
Please
Yes.
put booty
Yes.
room.
Right.
Yes.
Tish, that's your expertise. You develop stuff depending on the company.
Yes, I developed the grades, the sizing, initially all of their specs.
Yeah.
And then we send those specs over to a pattern maker and they will make the pattern, cut the garment out, and we will get the sample back to try it on a fit model. Once we try it on a fit model, that's when I'm making corrections and telling the factory or whoever made the pattern how to correct it. But also now using 3D, Browseware and Clo avatars to kind of stop a lot of samples being made because that kind of costs waste. So it's more of a sustainability thing. However, I got into it because I love computer pattern making.
Mhm.
It was a surprise, and all the math. Surprisingly, I didn't have to draw.
So that got you out of drawing stuff.
As
It
long
got
as
me
it
out
didn't
drawing.
involve drawing, you were good, huh?
But if somebody wanted to do what you're doing, how would you suggest them getting started?
I would say, one, if you don't want to go to school, look me up on Keeping You in Stitches. My
Plug.
website would be
Plug.
on below. Shameless plug.
No,
But
non-shameless plug.
that's right, non-shameless plug.
Exactly.
But you can also get into the industry by becoming a tech design assistant.
Hmm.
However, I will say one thing, you a tech designer, you need to know sewing and pattern making. I know tech designers and people that are have years under them and they do not know pattern making. It completely confuses me because I'm like, well, how can you actually look at a pattern and tell the factory how to make it if you don't know pattern making?
Right.
You still have to know how to do it in order to tell them how to correct and know
Right.
when they are doing it
Yeah.
correct.
And even if you have a really good pattern maker, when you
Right.
get it back, you have to
Mhm.
know what you're looking at, or you're going to waste a whole bunch of muslin creating
Yes.
these samples,
Yep.
and they're all going to be wrong because you didn't know that the bust dart should only be 2.5 inches. It should not create a bullet there.
Right.
Madonna in the 80s.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Also, you need to know how to do patterns because sometimes, and this happens a lot in the industry, you will tell them to do something, they'll send something back, it will look okay. Then, for some reason, maybe between the first and second counter sample or PP, it will be something completely different,
Yeah.
and it'll wind up in stores looking completely crazy.
Yeah. So
So
it's like
And
tell the
you will be
non-industry,
responsible.
tell the newbies what PP is.
Okay, so there are stages of samples. Like a counter sample, that would be like your first time looking at it. Second counter sample. A PP sample is pre-production. So this means right before they go into production, this is your sample, and it's going to be an actual fabric with actual trim.
yes.
You're trying it on a fit model. You want to make sure that you
Everything's
are
right.
approving everything on this sample. It should literally resemble what is going to hit the stores. So
And
if
it
you get
should be flawless
and it should be flawless.
in
And
the
it should also
perfect world.
come with the pattern.
The crazy thing about it is, just from years of experience, even when you see the PP, if you don't have quality control in the production process, sometimes you come back with stuff that looks totally off. Like
Yes.
the grading is off, the trim is
Yes.
off, the sewing is off. So it's just like, if you're going to produce a lot of garments, you have to have quality control built into the production process. So it's not
Absolutely.
just that. You can't just let it go and trust the factory. Not
Right.
unless it's a reputable factory and you've been dealing with them a while, and
Yes.
but
And
if it's a
like
new
Tish said, you
factory,
got to research these factories because some of these
Yes.
factories are sitting in a call center scamming.
if you haven't
Yeah.
been over there and see for
Right.
yourself that it's an actual factory.
Right.
Because I mean, they do have domestic factories where you can visit, but the pricing is, like
Yeah,
triple.
USA pricing.
And I would also say in that, as you're talk to people in the industry, ask them who they use.
Yeah.
You have an expert on this podcast. Hit her up and say,
Yes.
hey, do you know a good factory that can help me make athleisure? Or do you know a good
Yes.
factory that does denim? Like each factory could make everything, but you want the
Yes.
person that does the best in that thing.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
That
just
knows how to
because
deal with knit or woven
Yes.
or,
Right,
exactly.
right. Just
Exactly.
because
Yes.
they say they can do denim doesn't mean they can do denim. They're going to
Right.
say they can do whatever you want because they want to get paid.
Exactly, because they want to get paid. And as a tech designer, like generally when customers go to the store and they return samples, and it's because they may complain that it may be the sample was dyed maybe a dark blue and it actually rubbed off on your sofa, but there was no sign on the pair of pants to
Yep.
tell you, hey, the dye is going to transfer. Or if it
Exactly.
shrinks like 7 sizes, or if something happens to it and you return it, it comes back to that technical design. Whoever made it, it comes back to them and to the factory. So someone has to take responsibility for that.
And it's so funny because people always laugh at me because I wash every new thing that I buy before I wear it. Everything before I wear it. I want to know if it's going to shrink. I want to get all the color out of those jeans. People are gross. I mean, I've worked in retail long enough to know that people are disgusting. If you get a sample, ask them to send you a piece of whatever material they're using and take that material and wash it.
Yes.
See if that sample shrinks. See if that dye runs, and when it dries, wash it again to see if it's still running and if it's a problem with the dye. It's so much that goes into that technical aspect of it.
I'll give you 2 examples. One of when we talk about when you buy clothing, this is a prime example of why must at all costs. You must wash everything that you purchase. Don't just take it and put it on. Because there was a dress, and you walk and look this up, will actually probably will show like a little clip clip of this article. A woman bought a dress. When she bought the dress, she put it on because she did not wash it. And when she put it on, she got scratches on her leg because there was a mouse foot sewn into the hem of her dress.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we're not going to put that link to that video. We
No
don't
one
need it.
wants to see that.
No one wants to
No,
see
I
that.
mean, not the video, the article.
The
No
article.
one wants to read it either. And then just on the retail side, I worked in a couple of retail establishments that shall not be named, and they took back underwear
Oh, that's just nasty.
and bathing suits.
And didn't do anything, just put it back on the shelf.
Yes. It's just astounding to me. I bought some sneakers and the lady said, "We can just bring them back. I mean, if you wear them, we'll take them back. We'll just recycle them."
Yeah.
And again, it was at a major sneaker
Yeah.
store, not even an outlet. This is a major sneaker store.
Mhm.
And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I am confusion. Like, and we know a major department store will take anything back.
What do they do with the stuff after people return it? And if it's been worn, do they just put it back out? And
Allegedly,
yeah. So
they
lesson learned,
recycle it.
wash your clothes when you buy it. So
Yeah.
Tish, do you do like consults? Like if somebody was to call you up, I mean, do you like charge for consults or what's that?
I do consults. Generally, the first 15 minutes is a free consult, but yes, I do consult because I think it's good to talk to factories and talk to corporations just to see what the scope of their project that they need, and for me to like kind of pinpoint where I can help them and what all of their needs are. So, but yes, I do consult.
If somebody wanted to do what you do, you don't necessarily have to go to school, but you have to know pattern making and sewing, like how to
Yes.
put a garment together. And you can
Yes.
learn that how.
They can.
Someone on this call teaches sewing.
Naima teaches sewing, yes.
Mhm. I teach the sewing, the flat pattern making, draping, everything, pretty much everything that you would learn at a college university, I teach.
Okay, so how would
So-
somebody put like a portfolio together for that?
If they, with tech design, it's a bit different. Our portfolios generally consist of showing how a garment looks on a dress form.
Right.
Let's say like the dress form behind you. So we would have samples of different types of garments on our forms, and we would show how we are telling the factory to make it. So that could be in pictures and in pattern corrections. So we're actually doing a flat sketch of how they can correct it on the pattern, and also showing what the measurements are and what we need them to change them to.
Oh,
So you're showing them how to actually change and correct this style. It's more of a log of the different type of garments that you've worked on and how you go about telling corrections.
right,
Okay.
in your process.
And they do that because there are a lot of people that will go into tech that do not know pattern making. And then when they get in, they don't actually know how to do the job effective.
So
Makes
any last
sense.
words on, keeping me in stitches?
As I said, I am a tech design. So if you are like me and you can't actually do, or you're not all that wonderful, there's another route in the fashion industry, tech
Yes.
design. And now that we have Browseware, which is 3D tech design, those are avatars. Now it's beginning to be a lot more tech. So you can also do everything digital,
Right.
Oh,
which
that's true.
gives you a leg up because now you can actually work to become fully remote.
So do you teach any of the digital programs? Do you teach Browseware?
I am getting ready to start recording videos for Browseware and Clove.
Cool.
Yes, because I
Cool.
am certified in Browseware, so I'm getting ready to go back and do videos for that.
Very
Okay,
nice.
so there will be a course on the Browseware and how
Yes,
to
there will
apply
be
it to.
A
Okay.
course on Browseware.
Okay.
But that comes after, because in order to know Browseware, you need to know, in my opinion, it would make it easier if you knew Illustrator.
Right.
Because
Okay.
they have the same precepts, and also you need to know how to sew before you get to Browseware. You
Or
need to
just
know a
garment
bit of
construction,
pattern
in
making.
general. Garment construction in general, how to put together a garment. I mean,
Yeah.
you might not have to be good at sewing, but you have to know how
You
to
just
put the
know
pieces.
how to sew it.
So
All right.
that
Well,
is
that's keeping you in stitches. I mean, if you want to know any more about what Tish does, just go to her website, Keeping You in Stitches, or follow her on Instagram or Facebook or any of the socials.
All the socials.
If you have any questions about, what she does, just hit us up on Designers, Plants, and Coffee. All right, Tish, you can take us out.
All right, and that's all for us from Designers, Plants, and Coffee. I'm Letitia Winston of Keeping You in Stitches, along with Zahir of Region Design Agency, Naima Dozier of Fearless Thread. See you
And
next time.
also cover me sheet.
That's right.
Oh, yes.
Zahir.
All right, thank you.
We'll see you
And
next
We'll
time.
see you next time.